I'm so grateful for the beautiful responses that people had to my last video about trauma and triggers, and I think I called it real self-care. So here are some more tools for you. If you're dealing with trauma being triggered for you right now, and I talked in the last video about how what it really means to be triggered is something that's happening now inside of you or outside of you is bringing up painful associations of experiences that may still be unresolved or may still be just bring up a lot of emotions or really activate your nervous system in a way that creates anxiety, fear, that sort of thing, maybe immobility. So this is part of the human condition, right? And it happens to all of us in various ways. A lot of the time we're not aware of it. Sometimes it's small enough that we kind of just slide by it and keep going. Other times it can be really overwhelming. There's three things that I've taught for 8 years, and actually for quite a few years before that. I have a training called Awakened Heart, Embodied Mind that really integrates yoga and somatic psychology and neuroscience. So I've been teaching these concepts in that training for a long time. And you can find them if you want to dive a little deeper, and there's a lot more in there in my book called Awakened Heart, Embodied Mind that you can buy in digital form on Amazon. So check that out if you're at all interested. If this is your domain that you're kind of just getting into, or you're wanting to learn more about, or you're wanting to finesse a little more, because there's a lot of stuff out there about this, but I've been thinking and writing about this for a long time, for about 6 years prior to the 8 years of the full teacher training. Me and my colleague Halakuri did little advanced teacher training modules for like a week at Esalen for 6 years in a row. So this is stuff we've been workshopping and talking about and writing about for a long time. So the three main things, I call this the foundational trinity, and this is based on studying a lot of different somatic psychology approaches and research and neuroscience, all of how that interesting stuff intersects. So you can use this for yourself personally. You can use this in your bodywork practice, as I've done for the last 22 years. You can use it in how you think about teaching your yoga classes, right? How you think about specific practical tools that are helpful for everyone in terms of regulating the nervous system. So what is trauma? Trauma is an overwhelming experience that completely dysregulates your nervous system, right? Everything, anxiety, fear, overwhelm, immobilization, all of the things that happen when life is unmanageable, that has to do with the nervous system being dysregulated, right? So on a lower level than that, everyday stress, and then extreme stress that's maybe not traumatizing, but it really affects us intensely. It's all really the same thing with different degrees. It all affects your nervous system in a way that creates imbalance. And that imbalance over time can become chronic. When it's really, really, really chronic, we call it PTSD. But there are stages that are not as severe as that, but that are still detrimental to your health and your well-being. And if you're watching this right now and you're like, help me now, stop giving me all of this preamble, I'm struggling. Here are the three things. So grounding, orienting, and resourcing are the three main concepts that make up what I call the foundational trinity. Read about it in the book if you're interested. Grounding, as we all know, it's a very popular term that people throw around a lot. Sometimes it's not super clear what people mean, but I think we all have a general sense of it. Grounding means being in touch with the ground, right? But even more than that, it means being connected to awareness of your body. One of the things that happens when we're overwhelmed by stress or trauma is that certain brain regions shut down, other brain regions get overloaded. They're all not communicating with each other as effectively as they should be. There are two strips on either side of your brain called the somatosensory cortex that receive sensory information from your body, but there's also a kind of emotional and intuitive aspect to that too, in terms of what's coming up from your body into your brain. One of the best ways to start to shift out of really being triggered or having anxiety or panic or anything like that, one of the best things that I know for managing that, and I've used this personally when I've had to do public speaking in front of large groups of people, and I've been nervous, and it's been pushing my buttons and bringing up stuff from my childhood, and I went through a very punitive, traumatizing school system in South Africa, but that's a story for another day. So I've used this as well, and I've helped other people with this in my one-on-one work over the years. Quickest way, really become aware of your body. Get as grounded as you can. And by being grounded, I mean start to consciously, mindfully, deliberately focus your attention on sensing your body. There may be places in your body that don't feel good, and so you don't want to sense them. That's fine. Look for what does feel neutral or good, and you can use imagery if imagery is helpful for you. So you can use, say, the image of a big, strong tree with really deep roots, and picture that in your body. Picture those roots going down from all the places you're touching the floor into the earth. You can use an image of a big rock or a mountain, right? Anything that helps you to feel more grounded. There may be a place in nature that you picture, or it may just be about picturing your own body and your own connection to the earth, right? Really feeling the ground underneath you as well. Becoming aware of your hands and your fingers, your face, your feet and your toes is usually the easiest, and then from there you can try to sense into the rest of the body. But the more grounded you get, the more you find yourself in present time, the more you find that you're in touch with your capacity for embodied intelligence. And that starts to shift you into a really positive direction, because that's the opposite of what you may have been feeling before. You could also put your hands on the floor. For some people that helps. So anything that gets you there. As you're watching this, certain things may come to mind, or you may try some of the different things that I'm suggesting, and this one doesn't work, but this one really does. Make a note of that. Make a mental note or write it down for yourself somewhere. These things help me to feel grounded. So grounding is the first one. Orienting is the second. When we're overwhelmed by stress or trauma, we tend to kind of time travel in our minds. We tend to detach it a little bit from the reality that's around us. Get ungrounded in our body. It's also called dissociation, right? So getting oriented to your present location helps you to be in present time, helps you to be grounded in your body, helps you to be less at the effect of all of that past future intensity that happens when we're overwhelmed. So an easy way to do that is just very calmly as you can, look around. Notice what you see and just kind of make a mental note of the different things you're seeing. So as I look around, I see a massage table. I see a clock that has red digital letters on it. I see some of the beautiful artwork in my studio. So I'm just tracking. You do the same. Look around, notice what you see, get oriented to present time. There's actually, for most people, something very relaxing that starts to downregulate your nervous system about just doing something as simple as that. Notice the things that you see. There's a red bench in here. There's a long mirror. I have some anatomical models of a spine and a knee and a shoulder. And you might notice, even just me doing this right now, I feel a little more relaxed and grounded just from doing that. So orienting is another useful one. For some people, closing the eyes and just turning the head slowly side to side, like Stevie Wonder does. You ever see Stevie Wonder? He's just smiling and his head is always kind of moving, doing the side to side thing. Some people in the somatic community have suggested that Stevie Wonder is orienting himself because he can't see his surroundings. That's part of the way he just soothes his nervous system and feels a sense of where he is in time and space in his body. So orienting is another one. Maybe something I suggested worked for you. Make a mental note of it, write it down. Maybe not. Maybe orienting is not a good way in for you. Everyone's a little different, right? And it may be different at different times in your life. The third one is resourcing. So a resource is anything that evokes well-being for you. So it could be focusing on gratitude or compassion. It could be thinking of certain people in your life who you feel really accepted and supported by. It could be a place in your body that you just go to, like that place always feels good to me. It could be an image, a memory, a pet. It could be a color. Could be a type of music that you play or a scented candle that you like, right? This is one you can really explore for quite some time. Resources that help to create a positive state change, that make you feel good, things that you can draw upon, whether it's about other people or places in the world or things that you do or music that you listen to, right? You get the idea. It could be a lot of different things. So grounding, orienting, and resourcing, these are really practical and effective tools for helping manage trauma and stress. See you soon.